as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
There have been men, many of them, who claim to be a new Messiah. And tonight we're going to meet 3 of them, including one in the faraway Philippines who has amassed a flock, he says, numbers in the millions.
Throughout the Bible, prophets, angels, and Jesus himself all promised that the Son of God would return to create heaven on earth. And throughout the ages, billions of Christians have wondered, when? But what if the second coming is here, now? There are a number of would-be messiahs who claim exactly that.
And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Shall be famines and pestilences.
The UN says years of war, poverty, and drought have left more than 20 million people facing famine. Tony Ducopo has a report.
In search of relief, the hungry walk for miles. Not enough food to go around, vast stretches of Africa and the Middle East are now on the brink of famine.
Already at the beginning of the year, we are facing the largest humanitarian crisis since the creation of the United Nations.
4 countries and more than 20 million people, including nearly 2 million in Nigeria, 3 million in Somalia, 5 million in Sudan, and 14 million in Yemen.
And there shall be famines and pestilences.
Is investigating a UK man infected with what is being called a first-of-its-kind gonorrhea case. This is the first time a case has displayed such high-level resistance to both of these drugs and to most other commonly used antibiotics. The man is being treated.
Antibiotics allowed us to do things that no one could have dreamed of doing historically. They've allowed us to transplant organs. They've allowed us to undergo chemotherapy. They've allowed us to receive therapy in intensive care units when we're critically ill. Without antibiotics, none of those advances in human medicine would be possible.
And there shall be famine, pestilences.
We've still got the upper edge. Clearly, antibiotics still work, but it's the speed of change that concerns me. 20 years ago, this wasn't an issue. Today, it's a real issue. Infectious disease kills more people than cancer. TB kills 5,000 people a day. So if we don't start to act soon, start to put our pedal on the gas pretty soon, within another 20 years, we could be in serious trouble.
We've deployed our antibiotic defences far and wide, while the bacteria have kept up their counter-attack. They adapted and evolved. Now even our last precious antibiotics are surrendering to the rise of the superbugs.
And earthquakes in divers places.
The earthquake killed at least 10 people in Haiti. Hundreds of others are injured. The magnitude 5.9 quake struck off the coast of Haiti Saturday evening. Now, the damage was extensive. Homes were destroyed, and part of a hospital and auditorium collapsed.
California. 16 tremors above magnitude 4.5 shook the Pacific Ring of Fire on Monday. This followed a cluster of 53 quakes that hit the geological zone on Sunday. The quakes rattled Indonesia, Bolivia, Japan and Fiji, but failed to reach the U.S. side.
powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck the island of Sulawesi Friday. It triggered a tsunami that devastated coastal communities. Hundreds of people are hurt or missing, including many who are believed to be buried in mud in Palu.
By rubble and surrounded by mud, this woman spent more than 48 hours waiting for rescue, one of over 1 million Indonesians impacted by Friday's earthquake. Cell phone video shows the quake's power as the ground cracks and explodes, the earth rising and falling like waves. The seismic shock also triggered a tsunami, bringing a wall of water nearly 20 feet high roaring over the island of Sulawesi. It came without warning after the earthquake cut power to the tsunami alert system. The twin disasters devastated the city of Palu, where crowded buildings like mosques and malls collapsed, trapping people inside. Until Sunday night, cries for help could be heard from the rubble of the Roa Roa Hotel.
And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. The sea and the waves roaring. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Somalia's Islamist terror group Al-Shabaab recently joined with Al-Qaeda. It now wants Sharia law and to rid the Muslim country of all Christians. This Al-Shabaab video swept the internet in September 2008. It shows the brutal beheading of 25-year-old aid worker Mansour Mohammed. He converted to Christianity in 2005. 1 year ago, this Muslim convert to Christianity was awakened in his home by Al-Shabaab soldiers.
They ransacked my house, searched my bag, and found several pages from a Bible. They had crosses on them.
Abdi was taken away, imprisoned, and tortured.
I was blindfolded, and they put me in a dark, underground cell. They beat me up with a wooden baton. They wanted to know where I got the Bible pages, and if I knew of any others like me. When they finally took the blindfold off, I noticed 3 dead bodies in the...
Pastors were being arrested, and the prayer meeting were being raided, and even sentenced, 13 years, 10 years.
And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended.
Case in point, there was a gay parade and a group of people came to preach the gospel. Were they tolerated?
Look, you're being disrespectful by showing up and spewing your G at a pride event.
I'm gonna address you. Let me sing. Let me sing. I'm gonna address you. You have on your shirt. You have on your shirt. You have on your shirt. I don't F Republicans. Yeah. You're swearing and you're calling my religion. You're being.
And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
You should know better than judge me. You should know. Are you judging me right now? Yes, I am. You should not judge, but you're judging me? And you're judging me? And you're judging me? Are you judging me? Why are you here? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. So we see that. That's what they call a soul. So your hatred against
me. Ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Do you love everybody?
I love everybody.
And me too?
No.
I love everybody, but I don't love you.
What's started as a simple request for a cake at a bakery in Colorado,
We came to pursue a dream.
has turned into a bitter clash between religious rights
I just can't be forced to celebrate something that I believe goes against biblical teaching.
and civil rights.
We cannot be a nation that allows the thin veneer of religion to hide the truth of the bigotry that we are still fighting and battling against in this country.
And has become one of the most important cases before the Supreme Court this term.
Oh, yeah.
At the center of the case, David Mullins and Charlie Craig. They wanted a cake to celebrate their wedding, so they went here to Masterpiece Cake Shop.
Is that for compromise?
But owner Jack Phillips refused to bake them a wedding cake.
He asked us who the cake was for, and once we told him that it was for us, he informed us that he would not make a cake for a same-sex wedding.
Phillips says he offered to sell them other baked goods, but the couple says all they got from Phillips was a flat-out no. Phillips says same-sex marriages go against his Christian beliefs. He calls his cakes works of art and says he should not be forced to use his artistry for something he says offends his religion. The couple took action, filed a complaint with the Colorado Civil Rights Commission, and won. The case then went up to the Colorado Court of Appeals. The couple won again. The baker
And he shall be
appealed
hated
to
of
the
all
US
nations
Supreme
for my
Court.
name's sake.
Hundreds gathered outside the court to protest on both sides.
Let me ask you, when you see those two young men talking about how it brought tears to their eyes and how they felt like second-class citizens, how did that make you feel?
I apologized to the young man. I told him I'd sell them anything else in my shop, even offered to make other creative cakes. But it's been emotional for us as well. There were days where my wife was afraid. Actually, afraid to come to the shop. We've had death threats, harassing phone calls. I've been forced by the government to give up 40% of my business, half of my employees. It's been emotional on our side as well.
But on the other side, you can understand they have the legal right, and in their view, this is the same as saying to an interracial couple, I don't want to serve you. Yeah, go ahead.
It is not the same. Throughout millennia, cultures, the belief marriages between a man and a woman has cut across all cultures, races, civilizations.
But now it's been recognized as a constitutional right.
What the government recognizes as a constitutional right is very different from forcing the Abrahamic faiths, Jews, Israelis, those that are Muslims and of the Catholic faith and the Protestant faith, to affirm that and to speak messages consistent with it. This law forces a Democratic speechwriter to have to write for a Republican. It forces a Jewish graphics designer to have to promote things that the Jewish person doesn't believe in. It forces all kinds of things. Soloists, think of all the areas of speech. It will impact you potentially as a journalist. And so it's very broad. We've never in this country forced Americans to say things that they don't believe in.
And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many.
Reveal himself to anybody.
Does that mean that all people, all races, obviously, in your church, we see all people, all races. I can't imagine that you would have 16,000 people in there and none of them would be gay. So are gay people also included?
Absolutely. Anybody is. You know, Oprah, we sometimes make I say we, maybe the Christian community makes a bigger deal out of being gay, but...
Will a gay person be accepted into heaven as you see it?
Well, I believe they will.
Messages, he hopes, that offer a new perception of God for the 21st century.
The message that we have received, for which we've paid a huge price, has opened a whole new world for us.
But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, the other left.
Honey,
Two women shall be grinding at the mill,
you seen the kids?
the one shall be taken, and the other left.
Where are they? Where are my kids?
Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come.
Jesus is coming. Tell a friend.